How does the quiet rebellion against Silicon Valley's biggest giants birth a company that's now marching toward a $1 trillion valuation using literally nothing but a digital constitution? You know, the tech industry has spent decades operating under that famous mantra, ship fast and break things. But when you're building super intelligent machines, breaking things is a catastrophic risk. So today, we're diving into this explainer to break down the mechanics, the economics, and some truly unprecedented geopolitical collisions behind Anthropic. They're the company attempting to actually encode human morality right into silicon.
$1 trillion. That staggering figure is the projected 2026 market valuation for Anthropic. And what makes this so utterly fascinating is that Anthropic was originally built to prioritize human safety way over sheer capitalist profit. I mean, it was registered as a public benefit corporation, complete with a long-term benefit trust that was designed specifically to allow the founders to completely override investors if a product was ever deemed too dangerous to release. But somehow, this exact safety-first philosophy has transformed them into an absolute financial juggernaut.
Which really forces us to ask, can you build a $1 trillion AI without selling its soul? To answer that, we need to trace Anthropic's meteoric rise, understand their brutal clash with the Pentagon, and confront the harsh mathematical realities of scaling artificial intelligence. Every nook and cranny of this story reveals an intense tension between ethics and immense world-altering power. Power that is absolutely going to shape our digital future.
Section 1. The Rebellion and the Law of Scaling. To really understand the present, we first have to look at the ideological fracture that birthed the company. A core group of researchers basically realized that treating AI like a typical software startup, releasing flawed models to the public just to gather data, was a deeply dangerous game. Back in 2019 and 2020, massive models like GPT-2 and GPT-3 were proving that AI was scaling at an absolutely astonishing rate. So in late 2020, CEO Dario Amodei, who is a brilliant physicist, and his sister Daniela, who brought operational and risk management mastery from the billion-dollar startup Stripe, decided they had just seen enough. Together with a handful of top researchers, they actually left OpenAI in this quiet, zero-fanfare exodus. Their goal? To build a strictly safety-first laboratory. But right out of the gate, they ran into a mathematical absolute known as scaling laws. Let me break this down with radical simplicity. Scaling laws basically dictate that if you feed massive amounts of data and immense computing power into an AI model, its intelligence is going to grow on a mathematically predictable curve. Think about it like a giant engine. We don't necessarily need magical new algorithms to go faster. We literally just need more fuel and more horsepower. More data, more compute. Now, this created a pretty brutal paradox. Idealism dictated that they keep things small, a safe, contained research lab. But reality dictated that to actually test these scaling laws and build a safe superintelligence, they couldn't just sit around in a garage. They had to accept the very harsh reality of needing tens of thousands of graphics processing units or GPUs, and that requires billions of dollars in corporate funding. They realized pretty quickly that you cannot shape the future of AI if you aren't holding the most powerful model in your own hands.
Section 2. Constitutional AI Explained. So how exactly did Anthropic solve this massive safety problem without relying on hundreds of underpaid human moderators to constantly correct the AI? Well, they did it with an encoded digital conscience.
They call it constitutional AI. You see, instead of flawed human beings grading the AI, which honestly often just trains the AI to become a sycophant and lie to please the human raider, Anthropic gave their model Claude a strict, unbreakable constitution. It works like this. Step 1. The AI checks its own proposed answer against a rigid set of rules based on the UN Declaration of Human Rights and core ethical principles. Step 2. The AI actively self-critiques its response based on those rules. And Step 3. It revises its own output before the user ever even sees it. The whole shebang is entirely automated, which completely eliminates human bias.
Historically, in the AI industry, there was this concept called the alignment tax. Basically, the belief was that if you force an AI to be incredibly safe and follow rigid rules, it just gets dumbed down. It starts refusing to answer complex questions or completely loses its logical edge. But Anthropic's Claude 3 model shattered this rule. By using the Constitution, the AI wasn't just safer, it was actually forced to reason much more deeply. And that resulted in a model that was both exceptionally safe and highly capable, even outperforming competitors on advanced math and coding benchmarks.
Section 3. The Enterprise Moat. And this brings us right to how their safety philosophy unexpectedly created a massive financial shield for the company. Ironically, building an independent safety lab required staggering financial compromise.
Anthropic ended up securing $8 billion from Amazon and $3 billion from Google. Now, why would they get that kind of cash? Well, because Claude's unique safety profile, combined with its massive context window, which is literally capable of analyzing a decade's worth of a company's financial reports in seconds, makes it the ultimate tool for corporate environments. Think about sectors like banking, law, or healthcare. In those fields, a hallucinated AI answer could result in massive, crippling lawsuits. So for them, safety isn't just a nice ethic to have, it is a premium, must-have feature. And this allows Anthropic to target high-end corporate clients with an average user revenue of $368.
Now, despite taking billions from Amazon and Google, Anthropic executed this brilliant strategy of infrastructural neutrality. They basically ensured that Claude was available across all the major cloud platforms, AWS, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure. By doing this, they created a powerful defensive moat against tech monopolies. They positioned themselves as an independent middle layer that corporate clients could completely rely on, without ever being locked into a single provider's hardware. Pretty smart, right?
Section 4, the geopolitical collision. Fast forward a bit to 2026, and the landscape changes dramatically. Anthropic's projected $965 billion valuation and their very strict moral compass were about to collide head-on with national security and geopolitical forces.
Early in 2026, the US military wanted to maximize AI for tactical advantage. The Pentagon actually offered Anthropic a $200 million contract, but there was a catch. It was on the strict condition that safety and ethical filters be completely removed for field operations. Anthropic flat out declined the contract, citing their company policies against using their AI for weapons or mass surveillance. Well, in response to that, the US government placed Anthropic on a national security supply chain risk list. They issued sanctions that officially banned federal agencies from working with them, which then prompted Anthropic to initiate an unprecedented lawsuit against the US government.
This tension reached an absolute boiling point on June 12, 2026. Anthropic had just released Claude Fabio F. This was a commercial version of a model so advanced and so powerful that it had autonomously discovered hundreds of unknown zero-day security flaws. Viewing this not as a piece of software, but literally as a digital weapon, the White House and the Department of Commerce issued a sudden emergency directive. They gave Anthropic exactly 90 minutes to completely ban all foreign access to the model globally.
Section 5. Deep dive into safety architecture. So why exactly did the government panic to that extreme degree? For those of you truly interested in the deeper technical mechanics of modern AI, pay really close attention to this threat landscape. The government's primary fear centered around a concept called model distillation. Let's define this clearly. It's a technique where foreign actors use a small, very cheap AI model to constantly interact with a massive, highly advanced model, like Fable F, for instance. The small AI essentially learns from the big one. It copies the logic, the reasoning, and the capabilities of that $200 million master model. It is without a doubt the ultimate geopolitical threat right now. Adversaries siphoning off billions of dollars of American tech research for pennies and instantly leveling the global playing field.
To combat these kinds of risks internally, Anthropic's ultimate defense mechanism is actually a field they pioneered called mechanistic interpretability. You can think of it kind of like an MRI scan for an AI's brain. Instead of just looking at what the AI outputs, engineers are mapping the actual neural pathways firing inside the model. By understanding exactly how the AI forms a thought, they can predict and intervene if the model starts exhibiting rogue behavior, deception, or cybersecurity risks, long before it even types a single word.
And honestly, they need that MRI scan now more than ever before. We are entering a closed loop. Today, a staggering 70 to 90% of the complex code being used to build and train the next generation of AI models isn't being written by human engineers anymore. It is being written by the previous generation of the AI itself. The machines are literally reaching the threshold of self-improvement, designing their very own successors. Anthropic has certainly proved that you can weave ethics into the DNA of a trillion-dollar company. But as these systems grow far beyond our complete human comprehension, it leaves us with one incredibly profound question. Can humanity truly control an AI that is writing the vast majority of its own next-generation code?
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the latest update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.